as per established tradition, Diablo 4 has made everyone mad again.
So recently there was a consumer poll that was released by Activision Blizzard that was asking customers whether they were okay with spending $50 to $100 on a Diablo 4 expansion with a bunch of extra bells and whistles.
Yeah, we know about that, Paul. The craziest part about that also is the fact that there's a lot of people, as it turns out, who do not instantaneously take the lowest price. They actually sometimes unironically take the higher price. Why? I don't know. But there's a lot of people who do that for some reason.
And while I realize a lot of people have already discussed this, I'm going to be talking about something a little bit more unique. Now, I'm not going to be talking about how disgusted I am with their idea of doing it in the first place. No, I'm asking what makes them think Diablo 4 is even worth it in the first place.
Well, the answer to that is very easy, actually. It's the fact that people are going to spend $100. Currently, I have absolutely no doubt, all the people who came back for Season 2 and played Season 2 are absolutely, without any question, going to pay $100 for the expansion of Diablo 4. At the end of the day, it's a better game than Diablo 3, and let's remember that Diablo 3 had a Necromancer update, which costed $30 to $40 if I remember correctly. I didn't buy it, but a lot of people did. And when people called those people stupid for buying it and said that this is not worth $30 or $40 for just one playable character and nothing new, a lot of people went and batted for Blizzard and said, but you also got this free zone now with two new monsters. It's for free. It's so worth it. Yes, 2 new monsters that no one cares about and a new zone that there's nothing to do in and no one cares about. Oh, I'm so happy Blizzard blessed me with this free content and whatnot. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. I'm honestly surprised. The only thing that surprised me about this is that the expansion is not going to be worth $200 at this point. That's the only thing that honestly surprises me. 100? I think that's cheap for Blizzard.
Diablo 4, Blizzard's latest entry into the legendary Diablo series, arrived amidst a whirlwind of anticipation. Promising to usher in a new era for the franchise, the game aimed to recapture the dark essence of its predecessors while introducing innovations to the ARPG genre. Upon its release, Diablo 4 immediately captured attention, with its visually striking world and the promise of a deep and immersive experience. The game boasted enhanced graphics, a sprawling open world, and a narrative that seemed to harken back to the roots of the Diablo saga. However, the honeymoon phase was short-lived. Despite the impressive facade,
I'm not even sure it did all of those things, by the way. You can say they did, I'm not going to argue against that, but I'm not even sure that it actually did any of that.
Diablo 4 struggled to retain its player base. Players began voicing concerns over various aspects of the game, including its lack of depth in gameplay, endgame content variety, no meaningful crafting, lack of storage, poor build variety, and overall replayability began all to surface at once.
True. And we have covered this 100 million times. And the reason why this happened is very simple. That's because the Diablo 4 devs are incompetent and every single person working on Diablo 4 should be fired from Blizzard and new people should be taken in because chances are they're going to do a better job. Because the Diablo 4 devs don't even play their own game. And we know this because they have literally done developer live streams when fresh level 50 characters are created through the console menus and the people playing don't even know that there's a right click. And when they accidentally right click, you can see visibly that they get scared because they have no idea what's happening. And these people are not just some randos, by the way. These people are the people who are the heads of making maps, the heads of designing characters. How can you do any of these things if you don't play your own game? Half of the issues that arose with Diablo 4 were only because no one played the game. The gem bag controversy is the greatest example of this. The Diablo 4 devs did not understand what's the point of a gem bag. They literally did not understand what's the point of this. Because they don't play the game, they didn't understand how much of your inventory space does this take. And when finally, after multiple months, multiple seasons in fact, The developers gave up and caved in about people saying that the gem bag is necessary. They added the gem bag, and literally in the same exact inhale of oxygen, also added more items that are gonna further clog up your inventory. The Diablo 4 devs categorically have absolutely no clue what they are doing or why they are doing things.
The players spoke louder than words. A steep decline in active player bases were observed shortly after the game's launch. The exodus was not merely a fluctuation in numbers, but a clear indication that Diablo 4 was not living up to the community's expectations.
It was essentially the same type of exodus you saw in Diablo 3. It is what it is.
Longtime fans and newcomers alike expressed their disappointment. Comparisons were inevitably drawn to earlier entries and other titles within the genre, with many feeling that Diablo 4 lacked the captivating magic and complexity that had once defined the genre. As we delve deeper into the controversies surrounding the upcoming expansion and its pricing, it's crucial to understand this backdrop. Diablo 4, a game launched with promise and potential, now stands at a crossroads. Its future hinged on how well it can reconcile with the past and realign with its community's expectations. The launch and the issues that follow have me sitting here scratching my head as to why Blizzard would believe that Diablo 4, an expansion for the game, would be worth the same price as the box price for the game. I mean, $50 to $100. We know most people are going to be sitting in the range of anywhere from $70 to $100 because they have to have that early access if they were to buy it. But why would the players want to invest in it?
Oh yeah, by the way, this does not include early access, which is probably going to bump it up to 130 or something like that. Nice.
A game that didn't meet their expectations the first time around. And it's not like the game has really recovered since then. Even more so, think about the value proposition. Why would you want to charge $50 to $100 for a game where you have competition that's out there right now that's providing a more engaging and more fulfilling experience for far cheaper or even free? In the competitive landscape of action RPGs, Diablo 4 is not an isolated phenomenon. It exists alongside notable titles like Path of Exile, Grim Dawn, and Last Epoch, each one of them bringing a unique flavor to the genre. So let's take a closer look at how Diablo 4 stacks up against some of these competitors. First, there's...
It has more players still. That's how it stacks up, okay? The brutal reality is that Diablo gets more money, more everything than Path of Exile. Because Path of Exile is, by definition, a way more hardcore game than Diablo 4. And guess what? When you have this magical graph of distribution, and you use this graph to, let's say, judge do people play softcore games, normal games, and hardcore games, guess what? Boom! It's like this. It's the hill thing. Most people are in the middle. PoE is here at the very, very end. Technically, yes, PoE is better than Diablo in every single way possible. But the thing is, the people who are playing Diablo, yeah, sure, some of them are going to leave for PoE because they have heard about it, sure. But most won't. Most won't. PoE is way too hardcore. The average player can't get past Hillock. Yeah, imagine that. We're not talking about Brutus even. We're talking about Hillock. Hillock is just auto-attack him down and just drink potions when appropriate. And the average player can't even do that. The average PoE player, literally by GGG's own admitted statistics, deletes the game and Hillock because it's too hard. Let that sink in.
Path of Exile, a game renowned for its deep character customization, intricate item systems, and free-to-play model that respects players' choice. It has set a high bar for what players expect in terms of content richness and engagement without heavy monetization, with arguably one of the better free-to-play models that are out there.
But that's not true, by the way. Again, Path of Exile is no way free-to-play. If you're going to play this game, it has a box price. And that box price is the currency tab and probably the sellable tabs and a lot of other tabs that you must buy. Now, the good part is this is not $50, this is not $100. It's way more cheap. But calling Path of Exile free to play is blatantly disingenuous. If there's someone who's playing Path of Exile for free without at least the currency tab, I don't want to hear about your meager existence of pure sadness and torture. Don't even try to comment, you disgusting filth.
With now over 10 years of continued support for Path of Exile, it's stacked with endgame content systems and a variety of builds, items, and more. Then we have Last Epoch, a newer entrant, yet making significant waves.
Last Epoch is the best hack and slash game ever. It is absolutely wonderful. It is the perfect blend between Path of Exile and Diablo. It has a good crafting system. It has the best skill system in any game. Path of Exile doesn't even come near it. Diablo 4 definitely doesn't come near it. You can customize abilities. It is so good. It is remarkable. I have talked about this many times. Last Epoch, the moment its graphics improve to a certain good enough level, it's gonna instantaneously take everything over. It's just the graphics, and then it's GG for Path of Exile. It's gonna be put into the trash next to Diablo because Last Epoch is so unbelievably better.
Waves with its engaging time travel storyline, arguably the best crafting system in ARPGs, satisfying combat mechanics, and a transparent development process. It's a testament to how indie studios can compete in a space that's dominated.
Yeah, he's wrong about one thing. No one knows Path of Last Epoch's lore. It's you find these shards and then you time travel and boom, there you go. No one knows the actual story of the game.
By bigger players. In comparing these games, several key factors emerge. Firstly, the depth of gameplay. Both Path of Exile and Last Epoch offer a level of complexity, depth of content, and customization that keeps players engaged for the long term, whereas Diablo 4 does not. Secondly is the value proposition. These games deliver a wealth of content without pushing players towards aggressive monetization or offering a heavy box price. The gaming community has voiced its opinion loud and clear. While Diablo 4 has its strengths, particularly in its narrative and visual representation, it falls short in areas where Path of Exile and Last Epoch excel. This raises questions about the sustainability of Diablo 4's model, especially in a market that...
It has better graphics. Again, the Last Epoch is considered worse than Path of Exile because the graphics just betrayed. That's it. That's it. I have said this 100 million times. There has never been a single game that has survived the test of time, or even the test of just 2 months, honestly, and has not experienced a 99.9% drop in players if your character design is bad. An MMORPG where your running animation feels wonky, jonky, and bad, where your attack animations feel bad. There has never been a single game that survives. Even if the game is good, even if the concept is good, even if the lore is great, people don't want to play games like this. You cannot name me a single game where the character looks like shit, moves like shit, and yet that game is doing well. It doesn't exist.
That offers high-quality alternatives at a lower cost or even free. As we now look to the controversial pricing strategy of Diablo 4's upcoming expansion, understanding this competitive landscape becomes crucial. It's not about the price tag. It's about the value that the players perceive they are actually getting for their investment. Path of Exile offers bossing, maps, heists, labyrinths, delves, simulacrum, uber blight, crafting, a rich player...
Yeah, and you know why Diablo 4 is winning out against Path of Exile in the grand scheme of things? Because it doesn't offer 300 things that you need to read 50 Wikipedia articles and 2 light novellas to understand. That's the problem with Path of Exile. New people can't join because the hell is this? Or this, or this, or this, or this. There's 100 million things happening. And by the way, if I'm not right, which some of you are gonna try and claim, why is there a Path of Exile 2 that literally gets rid of most of these systems? What's the point of that if Path of Exile is so much superior? You can't explain the reason of Path of Exile's 2 existence the way it currently is, if I'm not right.
Player economy, and the list can go on and on for all kinds of different activities for players to take part in throughout the entire game. Last Epoch gives each skill its own skill tree, multiple specializations per class, an intuitive craft.
Okay, let me rephrase this a little bit so you understand better. A single skill in Path of Exile, a single skill from any class, has more customizations, more ways for it to make to feel unique and interesting than all of Path of Exile's skills combined. It's not even a competition. Mainly because, you know, Path of Exile's weakest part is making skills feel unique. You know, because at the end of the day, it's not gonna matter. Oh, you're using Ignite and Proliferation. Wow, you're one shot. You're still just clicking a button, and the whole of the screen gets evaporated, and you don't even and you don't know why. It doesn't matter. Okay, it's true. I know it's sad, but it is what it is.
Crafting system and its unique endgame system called the Monolith. To my knowledge, Diablo 4 offers a barren open world, chaos dungeons, and a couple of bosses that you can use for target farming. Path of Exile and Last Epoch are objectively better games in my opinion. They offer far more content, more player agency, more endgame systems, more items, more everything that you would want out of an ARPG, whereas Diablo 4 does not. And both of these games are offering that for anywhere from $40 to absolutely nothing. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me as to why players would be interested in a Diablo 4 expansion if it was heavily priced. And this is where I think Blizzard is starting to stumble. And while I realize it's their MO to try to take every bit they can and squeeze as much as they possibly can, my question is, what makes them think their game is worth that price in the first place when they're already still on cleanup from the launch? They still haven't fixed many of the issues that are still in the game. They're still...
So what? They got the money. The people are coming back. It's all good in the hood, baby. Why worried about spilled water at this point? That's the answer.
Isn't any increased stash base or anything like that. In fact, the first hint that we have of increased stash base is coming from this expansion, saying that it'll be included in some of these pre-ordered bundles.
It's not even necessary. That's the funniest part. It's actually not even necessary anymore.
The other thing to keep in mind too is while the price of these other games is far cheaper, once you are in for the box price for Diablo 4 and then the expansion, you're going to be in the hole for $150 to $200. And money has been meaning a lot more to people over the last couple of years as...
Well, eat less. What can I say? If you want to play Diablo 4, you're going to probably do it. Hey, you got that new Tinder subscription for $500. You got Diablo 4 expansion to get milked by. Hey, start eating less. What can I say?
Inflation's kind of done its whole thing. And
stop eating your poor people kibbled or whatever it's called. Just don't eat at all. It's simple.
That's what has me scratching my head. Blizzard should be on the apology tour still. They're not out of the hole yet.
Why? Why? I have said this a million times. You never tell a developer that they have done a good job. You tell them to off themselves because of how bad of a job and how much have they ruined the game. You tell them at best, yeah, this is kind of the right direction, but you need to still never go home, never take a day off or a vacation day, because the game's still not good enough. Even if it's good, by the way. Because the moment you say it to a developer, you did good, baby cheeks, guess what? They're not gonna try anymore. And this is what all of you did with Diablo 4. You told Blizzard, well, you did good, expansion season 2. And now they don't want to try anymore. Because you told them that you did good. Simple. The only part of the critique that matters is the last part. And if your critique of Blizzard the last time is you did good, Chief, congratulations, Blizzard has always done good. It's literally your fault.
So this very much feels like a situation where it's the tail wagging the dog. They're going for the money, but they're not actually offering any value in return. And we're not talking about a game that has popularity now. Its popularity's already dead, and that's something we're going to talk about here in a minute. So that's what makes it even more confusing. Now, I brought this up in a video where I was talking about how much they had spent on their marketing. But this very much feels like they're just trying to force monetization into the game because, well, nobody actually engaged with it when the game was released. According to a leaked survey from Blizzard talking about the upcoming expansion Vessel of Hatred for Diablo 4, the bundles for the expansion are going to include things like a unique hero skin, a unique mount, 1,000 platinum, and other in-game items like a town portal skin.
By the way, a couple of people are saying, oh, this is actually worth it. Some people have already defended this as 100% worth it, which is crazy.
And stash tabs. These tiers then escalate in price and content, with the $100 bundle offering extensive in-game perks like 2,000 platinum per season per year. The controversy primarily revolves around the inclusion of elements that many players are going to find pay to win. As an example, higher priced bundles offer early access to powerful in-game items, legendary aspects, as well as stash tabs, potentially giving players considerable advantage in gameplay. The community's response to this survey has been overwhelmingly critical. Players have expressed their concerns about the monetization of features like stash space, which they expected would come as a free update, and the potential imbalance of introducing early access to powerful items. This criticism reflects a broader concern about the balance between paid and free content in modern games. This situation with Diablo 4's expansion and its pricing isn't just a standalone issue, but a part of a larger conversation in the gaming industry about value, monetization practices, and player expectations. Blizzard is aiming to have Path of Exile's monetization strategy bolted onto a full-price title and a full-priced expansion. That, in and of itself...
No, seriously. And people are gonna buy it. People are gonna buy it. And when a game is doing bad because of bad decisions, well, you're supposed to nickel and dime the people that are left, because the people that are left are statistically proven to be the absolutely most unhinged lunatics that absolutely love the game without any exception. I mean, look at Destiny 2. It's a non-stop milking festival there. And it never stops. And when it stops, it's the only reason it stops is because the player base is not happy enough with the power level of the pay-to-win that they are buying.
Is absolutely absurd, but the one thing that I haven't really seen a lot of people discuss is whether or not Diablo 4 even deserves to have that kind of monetization in the first place. And I'm talking about that not as just a player, but also somebody that would be working at a game studio themselves, because they should be asking that themselves. Path of Exile is filled with microtransactions. There are tons of different things that you can buy, but Path of Exile is free to play. It's filled with content. It has a ton of value to provide for players, whereas Diablo 4 has nightmare dungeons and some of the worst boss design that I've seen in years. You can't even see Lilith's attacks. This is a case of a 4 thinking they're an 8. You're bringing nothing to the table and expecting everything in return. I'm sorry, Diablo 4, you're not that pretty. I believe Blizzard's monetization team are pricing the expansion based on the release of Diablo 4 and not the current health of the game or the market. Diablo 4, despite its initial success as Blizzard's fastest-selling game of all time, has witnessed a significant decline in its player count and popularity, especially in the streaming community. The game's presence on Twitch has seen a steep decline. From its peak of over 900,000 viewers at launch, Diablo 4's average daily Twitch viewership dropped dramatically to 4,000 viewers as of recording this video.
Exactly as Diablo 3, by the way.
Which means it's lost over 99% of its viewership. This steep fall in viewership suggests not only that it has a declining player base, but also a waning interest amongst the broader gaming community, as the amount of content surrounding Diablo 4 has declined on YouTube, and even its most popular videos about the game are about its decline or its mistakes. Now, while many may believe that Twitch isn't the most accurate way...
Well, yeah. Obviously, bad game, most popular videos are bad game. And good game, most popular videos are good game. That's not surprising.
To gauge active players, there are some games that definitely don't fit that mold, like...
But there's... I will say this, there's still a lot of people left to play Diablo 4. For example, on YouTube, there are times when Diablo videos just get a lot of views because, well, no one's making Diablo 4 content. And the reality is there's a lot of people who want Diablo 4 and whatnot, at least want to hear about it. So that's something. As strange as that seems, but it is what it is.
Final Fantasy XIV, but ARPGs do fit that mold. When they are popular and are being played, there is content that's being created around them, and Diablo 4's popularity is obviously waning when many of the creators in the space are turning to other games instead. The sentiment that I have and many other players is that of apathy. Sure, it would be cool if Diablo 4 was a good game, but I don't really care if it improves or not. There are a ton of other options, better options, that already respect my time and my money. Why would I give that to Blizzard? The community's response has been vocal, with many players expressing their dissatisfaction to...
I'm not sure, by the way, ever, what do people even mean with the term respect my time and money? Do other games just give you a maximum level character with all the items? Is that what respecting your time means? I have absolutely no idea. The only thing that I truly think we can constitute under respect time is when there are no intentionally dumb mechanics that need to be done for no reason but just to make a person move somewhere and do something for a couple of seconds and get back to the whatever they were doing. But well, every game has it. You can't sell items on the fly in Path of Exile. You need to go back to the city. So even Path of Exile doesn't respect your time in that case. I know a lot of people will not agree because it's so minor and feels insignificant. But still, if you want to make this argument, then even Path of Exile doesn't respect your time. So I don't know about this respect your time thing. It feels just like... There are blatantly situations where some of the developers are trying to waste your time with something. But man, I don't think any game really respects your time in the grand scheme of things.
How Blizzard has managed Diablo 4's live service and responding negatively to Season 1's content and the balance changes, despite the universal praise of the game's campaign, the endgame content and the subsequent updates have not really been well received, leading to a growing sentiment of discontent among players. While Blizzard has attempted to address some of these issues in Season 2, the game's unstable player count and the community's ongoing concerns paint a challenging picture for Diablo 4. The game's future now hinges on whether or not Blizzard has the ability to re-engage its player base and introduce content that meets the community's expectations. And that's the thing that really confuses me about all this, is that their monetization people...
But the content is already not that bad, honestly. Season 2 is way more of a win than anyone expected. That, if you want to go for a super decked out, true endgame character, do it. The Abattoir of Zir, it has flaws, but it is the super endgame thing. Because remember, most people don't even get to the Abattoir of Zir. Most people probably still don't get to level 70. So, what are we exactly talking about? I think Diablo currently has a lot of content currently to offer, if I'm being completely real with you. Now, some of the content is weaker than other content, and there are huge flaws, and I have already covered them multiple times, but, still, it has content. And at this rate, in 2 years, it's going to be way better than Path of Exile, if we continue on this. Or the alternative that I think that could possibly happen. It gets so bloated with useless mechanics and things that are stupid that no one's gonna want to play it.
Well, their marketing people, their community managers should know what state the game is in, and that charging these kind of prices, or even thinking about charging these kind of prices, doesn't make a lot of sense, especially in the eyes of the customer or the consumer, or whatever you want to call us, because we just don't see the value in that.
Well, you're gonna buy it anyway. Again,
situation where, like I said before,
it is what it is. I think we're done actually here, because at the end of the day, you're gonna buy it no matter what. It is what it is. Anyway, that was Legendary Drops. It's been a while. And this was Chris Sensen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye bye.